Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, 5:32 p.m. Alora, can you please call roll?
Chair Ryan.
Here.
Vice Chair Llewellyn.
Here.
Board Member Davis.
Here.
Board Member James.
Here.
Board Member Salvino.
Here.
Executive Director Chen.
Here.
City Attorney Bootzes.
Here.
Chair, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we have any citizens' comments? All right, seeing none, we will go on to our administrative reports with our CRA Director, Michael Chen.
Thank you, Chair. I want to remind you that we have a series of Dania Beach Business Academy classes going on now. The theme of the series is First-Time Homebuyer. The first session was last week, and I'm proud to say we had 106 people attend that first session for us. By comparison, in our previous two sessions, we attracted 35 to 40 people for that session. So we are doing, I guess, more effective outreach for this series. I mentioned to you that we have recruited for an executive assistant. The process was conducted through HR. They found us some good candidates. We have selected Denise Greenstein. And Denise worked for the city of Fort Lauderdale for the past 18 years in various senior administrative positions, including most recently, she was the administrative supervisor for the city manager. Denise is here tonight. I wanted to introduce her to you. Yesterday was her first day. Thank you. I want to bring you up to date on the process of the streetscape visioning plan for West First Avenue. The objective of the work was to develop a comprehensive streetscape plan for what is to be the central spine of the Dania Beach CRA Arts and Entertainment District. This is going to be a project that is hopefully coupled with the city's water main project so that we can experience the savings of basically just closing the street with our streetscape enhancement as the water pipe is laid. Calvin Giordano has conducted 4 workshops. On September 20th, there was the CRA board workshop. On October the 11th, there was a public arts board workshop. On January 17th, we had a city staff workshop. And then on January 18th, we had a general public workshop. January 18th workshop was actually held here in the chambers, and we had about 25 residents that showed up for that. So it was nice to get some of their input. Calvin Giordano is now working to put together their concepts and ideas, and they are looking to bring that to you for your discussion and consideration by April. Also wanted to remind you that according to Florida Statutes 163.371, Community Redevelopment Agency must publish an annual report not later than March 31st of each year, which means we are in the annual report process. And last year, I wrote most of the report. It was an 88-page report. And I expect that we'll publish an annual report this year of similar size and stature, which also means that basically I'm kind of buried between now and August 31 writing reports. With that, that's the conclusion of my admin report.
Okay, thank you, Director Chen. All right, we have no presentations, so we'll go on to the consent agenda to approve the minutes for January 9th, 2024. Board Member James.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Sorry. Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Board Member James. I have a second from Vice Chair Llewellyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passed unanimously. Okay, let's move on to discussion and possible action. So we'll start with item 7.1, the CRA owned property, 608 West Dania Beach Boulevard.
Thank you. Just to remind you, 608 West Dania Beach Boulevard is about it's a piece of land that's slightly more than a quarter acre. It is at the corner of Northwest Sixth Street and Dania Beach Boulevard. That is the piece of land that we had put out on RFP and that we had discussed with the selection of Habitat for Humanity. That discussion broke apart, and I guess, instructions that were left is that let's see what the market does over the next 6 months before we reconsider. With that being said, I received an unsolicited proposal from the Miami-Dade Affordable Housing Foundation. They are an experienced affordable housing builder. They, in fact, are familiar with Dania Beach. About 3 years ago, the CRA sponsored 6 low-income affordable houses to be built. The Miami-Dade Housing Foundation is the developer that was selected to build those houses. So they're very well aware of Dania Beach and our environment. They were also looking at this property, and they have expressed an interest in seeing if we would entertain a proposal, a formal proposal, to build 2 or 3 affordable housing units, either low-income affordable or workforce affordable, pretty much at your choice. And basically, they're saying that they can do this with the donation of land without additional financial assistance. So with that, I thought I should bring it back to you to see if you would be interested in us publishing another public notice, another RFP, so we can see what kind of response we get with this, in which the Housing Authority would be a respondent. I need to clarify, because I use the Miami-Dade Housing Foundation as an example of an experienced developer of low-income housing who has a specific interest in this property, but this in no way reflects that they are predestined to be the selected party from an RFP. So I'm looking for your direction.
Okay. Discussion? Board Member James?
Yes, thank you. Are they able to do low income or workforce?
They can do either. They have expressed a preference to do workforce affordable housing. They think right at this time, this is perhaps a more critical issue. Not to say that low income is not important, but all forms of more affordable housing are in short demand. So their preference is workforce affordable, which is 120% AMI. But if your preference is low income at 80% AMI, they'll do either at your direction.
Okay, thank you, because, I mean, we have a lot of homeless families and individuals who can't afford even workforce, and so I just wanted to make sure that they had the ability to do that. And we were discussing possibly townhomes. Are they discussing townhomes or just single-family residences that are separated?
Right now, their concept is to do a townhome structure, but it actually requires some engineering analysis of the site to see how it lays out. They would like to see if they could put 3 units on there. Right now, all they're sure of is that they can do at least 2.
Townhomes?
Townhome is their concept, yes.
Okay. I would be open to opening it back up, especially given in this market, if they have the ability to do low income or the workforce low income or the workforce housing. But my preference would be the low income, especially in that area, and seeing so many families that are without right now and continue to be evicted because they can't afford their rent here. I would like to see home ownership, another round of at-home Dania Beach. For the same, well, I know that we have to wait for the RFP if we decide to, but they did a great job with the first round of homes, as well as they gave some monies back that went towards down payment assistance for those homes. Thank you.
Board Member Salvino?
Thank you. I am in favor also of the townhomes, but again, I like to hear numbers and stuff. And I was just wondering, if they have a projection of what, even if we donated the land to them, what the cost factors would be and what the retail of the house sale would go, to find out where the AMI would put us at, and to be able to find out before we even acknowledge the fact of donating the land is something that they can't afford to do in the low income or affordable housing. It gives us an idea what they should be able. I think the market's stabilized enough right now where they can give you a projected cost of what the sale of the house would be. If you can come up with that, I'm in favor of the townhouses. I'd love to see 3 on there. I'd love to see 3 families get in there. So I'm all for that. But I'd like to understand what we are, what they're able to do for the person that wants to buy the house. Is it going to be 200,000 or is it going to be 400,000?
Okay, well, the affordability of a house depends on the size of the family that comes into it, which also is directly associated with the makeup of the family. And I don't mean to be kind of avoiding your question, but basically, according to HUD standards, they're very particular about how the family composite goes into a house. So for instance, if it's a 3-bedroom house, and basically I think they're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit, a 3-bedroom house could accommodate 3 people or 6 people, depending on how the composition of the family is.
Right. I understand all that.
Yeah.
My question though is that whether the 3, 4, 5, or 6 people move into the house they would only qualify if they could get into the house. The point is there is a number on the top that they have to get to qualify to begin with. So what I'm saying is if they think they can build a house for $200,000 or $300,000, a 3-bedroom townhouse, $300,000, then they worry about who qualifies. I'm worried about what the price is going to be, and then if you figured out at the 2 different AMIs what it would be, then we'd have an idea of what the person's going to be able to do to qualify. Am I incorrect in how to say that? So the thing is I mean, if he comes up and tells you $300,000 and neither one of them can qualify on either AMI, then what's the point of donating the land?
Okay, well, I understand that. I will tell you, if we donate the land, I would expect a condition, a covenant to run with the land, that it maintains that it must be developed as either low-income affordable or workforce affordable housing, and it must do so for a period of at least 30 years.
All right, so when you put the RFP out for this, then I would recommend some suggested situations like, what can you do for us? What's the amount of the townhouse is going to cost, and what size are they? And I think at that point, we can figure out the rest.
That's fine. That can
Okay.
certainly be included.
Okay, thank you. With that, I support Board Member James's recommendation.
Vice Chair?
That's kind of what I was going to say as well. I'd like to have whatever proposals come in, have them give us some numbers as far as what they would be willing to do, and so that we can take a look at that. And I would assume that's what you would expect as well.
That is what I would expect for a responsive reply to an RFP.
And
Yes.
I'd like to see numbers for both low income and workforce. So I think we need some variety as well. And it'd be
Okay.
good to see what the options are.
Sure.
Okay, I think you got your direction from the commission. Any other comments?
So by acclamation, you're all supportive of going out and doing the RFP?
Yes.
We'll do that right away. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Okay, on to item 7.2, we'll discuss the patch, Fruitful Fields.
Thank you. So we actually do have a presentation for you in this session. It was directly associated with this item on the agenda, but the Fruitful Fields people are here, and they would like the chance to a little bit better, more formally introduce themselves to you, rather than just the conversations that we've had so far. So with that, Jamie and Noah, if you could come and provide your presentation.
Good evening. Some of you may know me. I'm Jamie Castoro. I'm with the Executive Director of the Fruitful Field. How do we get the, there it is, okay. And this is,
I'm Noah Siegel from the Fruitful Field. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much.
and we're here to discuss the possibility of the Fruitful Field coming in and managing the Dania Beach patch. And so that would be a partnership between us. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Maybe you need the clicker, though, if you want to change the slides.
Okay, there we go. Okay. For those of you who don't know, the Fruitful Field is a local nonprofit. We're based in Deerfield Beach, and we provide locally grown, nutritious, and sustainable produce to at-risk communities. We're located on church property in Deerfield that has a food pantry attached to it, and we do a lot of distribution. Our goal is to give away, we would like to give away all of our food, but we can't. So a minimum of 50% of our production goes out to communities that need. We also like to share knowledge and teach people how to grow and how to become healthier through eating healthier food and also growing food. And we work hard to do that through sustainability, regenerative agriculture, nutrition, and health. So that's what we do. And then, you know what? You can.
So here we got two pictures that represent a couple different things. The right picture is our adult internship program, which we'll discuss a little bit later. We have some adult interns planting a field, and on the left, we have one of our adult interns handing out some freshly grown, harvested produce to our local food bank. So here's what we do at the Fruitful Field. We leverage local land parcels to grow an abundance of organic produce using the methods of regenerative agriculture, rehabilitating poor soil health, and sequestering CO2 from our atmosphere into the soil. And we partner with local schools, corporations, nonprofits to spread our knowledge and mission across South Florida via lots of different programs that we'll discuss: after school programs, we have a paid internship program, homeschool classes, and school garden classes as well. You can see here's a couple pictures from our parcels that we have of land. We use regenerative agriculture as our method. That's my background. I have a Master's of Science in Regenerative Organic Agriculture. And the purpose of regenerative agriculture is to be able to provide the most amount of food with the least amount of input, while also sequestering the most CO2 from our atmosphere into the soil. So it's highly sustainable and the most productive agricultural style that you can employ. So here's a couple pictures from our sites, growing various vegetables, all minimal irrigation, very sustainable, and providing nutrient-dense food that I do test all the produce that I harvest for nutrient density to ensure that the produce I'm giving to our communities is packed with nutrients.
And then this is a list of some of our current partners that we work with on a fairly regular basis. I'll just, you can see them. For Habitat for Humanity, we did for their people that were applying to get homes in the Rick Case community. We did several garden classes with them. They're coming in April, and they're building out 3 or 4 garden beds at one of our sites. So that's one of our partners. Jim Moran Foundation has fully funded our Grow City Youth programming for the 23-24 season. Grow City Youth is a paid internship program for youth 14 to 17, where the kids come in after school from 3 to 6, and we teach them how to garden and leadership skills and communication skills, and so that when they go for their second job, they're better prepared. And it also, they get a deep dive into regenerative agriculture and how to grow food, how to prepare food. It's a really big confidence builder, and it's been in existence. Actually, I was reading yesterday, it's been around since 2013. It's been funded by various partners since 2015, consistently. So that program, we're really proud of. That's one of our flagship programs. We're really proud of that one. We work with Jack and Jill Children's Center. We go down there, we do some educational programming. I really push with them as well. The Fresh Access Bucks program with EBT, SNAP, that's something that we have at the Patch. I talk it up because the students at that school come from all over Broward. So that's a big one. And again, the Fresh Access Bucks is a program that I brought up to Deerfield, and it's getting legs. So that's that. And then back to you.
talk about some of the programs that we have at our various sites. Jamie just touched on Grow City Youth Program, amazing program. And then we have an adult internship program. It's our list here, but I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. The adult internship program that allows people from our community, if they want to learn about gardening or farming, or if they just want to help out. It's like over 6 hours a week required volunteering that they come and they work with me and we grow together and they help feed and distribute produce, but they get a stipend of whatever produce box that we have distributed that week. So it's really, really cool program. They get fresh produce and they get to help and they also get to learn at the same time. And we have a fresh food box program. We just started that program at our site in Pompano Beach. And right now we're currently on rotation distributing to 144 families. So we started it and it's gone really, really well. And that also helps support our Fresh Access Bucks program because we do that at that site as well. Here's a couple more pictures about some of our programs. On the right, we have some of our Grow City youth interns planting a medicinal garden. And then on the left is one of our homeschool classes, learning about soil and nitrogen fixation, things like that.
This is our management team. I don't know if you want me to read it or if you can. What's that? Summarize. Okay. I've been working for 30 years in real estate acquisition and management, and then I started working with the Dania Beach Patch for systems and business development, and I think it was 2013. I moved over to Broward Regional Health Planning Council and did work with them, trying to connect growers with markets and counting the growers in Broward County. And then I came back when Dania Beach was awarded the USDA Mobile Market Grant. So we did that until COVID, and I recently moved up to Deerfield last year to become executive director of the Fruitful Field. So I feel like I really work hard to strengthen partnerships and distribution of food in at-risk communities and with educational programming. So, and it's urban ag programming is really important to me. I think that it really builds healthy communities, and that's my passion right now. So. This is Noah.
I'm Noah. I've been farming for about almost 10 years, all over the world, Thailand, New Mexico, North Carolina. So I have a lot of experience in growing in different zones, but every place I've grown has been to provide for a community and to grow to feed. I have a Master's of Science in Regenerative Agriculture, and I'm currently pursuing a PhD in Sustainable Agriculture through research. And I have a wide variety of expertise in agriculture, from irrigation to nursery building to nursery management, to raised bed management, to harvesting methods. So I've been in it a while, and I love feeding people is my absolute passion. Getting local access to fresh organic produce is what I'm passionate about. So thank you.
A little bit about the Fruitful Field. It was established in 2008. They currently growing on a total of 7 acres across North Broward County, and we try to expand our space every year. We have over 1,200 volunteers a year at our sites. We grow over 10,000 pounds of produce, and we have established community partners and an active social media presence. So we feel that we would be capable of taking on the patch, and we would be, I would say, honored or would be very happy for you to consider us. So thank you for your time. There's one more slide.
Board Member Davis?
Yes, thank you both for the presentation. I think it shed a lot of light and really displayed your expertise in the field. You have a lot of different partners that you work with. These are partners directly from Pompano that you've worked with. I know that Hands on Broward has been a partner with the patch here, and I've volunteered with Hands on Broward here. So I'm just wondering a little bit about your marketing and recruitment process. You know, when I heard you farmed in Thailand, I was excited, but I'm wondering, what is it that you make sure that you're going to be able to engage this community and really get the programs back up to being lively and active as we would like them to be. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that Hands on Broward is a great partner, and I would certainly, I know that you still have Hands on Broward as a partner at the patch. I think that you have, at this point, there's some limited hours because of your staffing, but if you got back into your Saturdays, and I think you would open up your volunteer opportunities a bit more, even if
The regular hours,
with more regular hours, either in the afternoons or in the morning. You find your way. If we were the management team, I would also be reaching out to Saratoga and to the Silver Snake, just to the different partners that used to be engaged. I don't think it's just, I think that you have a staffing you have one person on staff at this point, and that's, you can't, it's a hard, it's a hard ask to be able to bring the programming and the growing together and make it happen. So that's where we can step in, and between Bianca and Noah, I think that your growing would be great again, and you would be really happy with the results, with the partnerships that we can re-engage.
Thank you, Jamie.
And our educational programs, we have a lot of schools that we're programmed that we're with. That brings a lot of volunteers in. We have like every single week a different school coming to volunteer as well. So that connection with like Broward schools, they have 23 food forests, and we're connected with all of those. So there's a lot of them. So having that connection, the field trips coming, and then the parents come, and then it's just like a rippling effect.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Board Member James?
Yes, thank you. What resources have you tapped into that CRA currently has as far as funding to help assist with the programs? So I know that prior to COVID, I think it was the DeLuca Foundation. Are you familiar with that?
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm very familiar.
Okay, so
DeLuca funded a few programs. They also funded the trailer.
Yes.
That's there. Unfortunately, DeLuca went into a different direction. They're not funding community gardens at this point.
But I know that there were some monies left over from that grant that they gave us. Are those no longer accessible?
That
I have confirmed those funds have been totally expended.
yeah.
And I did talk with DeLuca as well, and they're out of the direct funding of grants, but they're working through Broward County to still fund community garden projects, but they're doing it through Broward County now.
Okay, and then what about Spirit Airlines? I believe that they gave us a significant donation
I
of
was working under
$25,000.
In fact, that was the source of funding for the consulting agreement with Jamie for the last year or so.
Oh, so that entire,
It is.
That ended in
$25,000.
October, I think.
It was $20,000, I think, and it has been expended. They gave another one, yes, and I'll have to check the status of the second one. I remember the first one was where we first engaged.
That's what I'm saying. I know that we have funds that were supposed to go towards like Silver Sneakers, or supposed to go towards the seniors and programming, and or partnerships with the schools. And so I haven't heard anything about that round of monies that they have.
Okay.
Well, that is something that if there is funding there, that we can approach those schools. And I used to do a lot of work with addicts as well, that I can hopefully re-engage with some of those, or find the person that the science teacher who is ready and willing to come back. I'm sure that once, I'm not sure, but I would think that once people know that it's being reactivated and the patch is back, kind of, that people will be searching or looking
It just
for
takes
you.
some work.
It takes a little.
It's some elbow grease.
It's going to take work. It's going to take a plan and put the plan in action, and you'll get back there. I don't think it'll take as long this time as it because the patch was really getting legs when we got the when that mobile market grant came through. But then I don't want to keep going backwards. We want to look forward. But I think that it's those partnerships can be re-established fairly quickly. People know, a lot of the funders know the patch. They were happy with the patch. They like the size of it, and they like to work in the community. So I think that it's a good fit.
Okay, so we don't know about those fundings from Spirit?
I'll have to check specifically about the funding that Spirit did, what those funds were used for.
Okay, thank you.
Could you guys just give us a description, I guess, of how you'll be operating the patch, you know, on like a day-to-day basis regarding staffing or volunteers? Because who's really like an unemployed worker for Fruitful Fields? Like obviously,
What is that? Who's
like
that?
you guys are employed by Fruitful Fields,
Yes,
correct?
right.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And you have 1,200 volunteers, you said.
yes.
So it's going to be a combination of volunteers and staff, right?
Yeah, and our adult internship program also. They're like with us the whole entire season, and there's a lot of them that are looking into careers and job opportunities in this field. So we bring those along with us as we go. And then also that adult internship program, if established in the patch, can also lead to local community members of Dania Beach to be interested in farming, and then eventually, you know, can get a career in farming, or even at the patch.
But we would have, we would look to have somebody at the patch, a part-timer that would work with Bianca for, I think we put in about 20 hours a week for somebody. And then Noah would be there as well. I would have a market person, a person who would do marketing and a social media person involved with the contract. I mean, that's part of the contract, so that we would be covering those costs of the additional staffing.
Okay.
The staffing needs, except for Bianca, would come over to the patch, which would, how can I even put it? It gives us a little bit more leeway than sometimes with human resources or with the city, with how we manage the staff and how the city
She do it as needed.
has their guidelines. Not that there's anything wrong with them. It's just that we're a little smaller and a little more nimble, that we can kind of jump around a little bit more.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Yeah, I just wanted more
So that's-
clarification
yeah.
so everybody can understand how you
So,
guys are going to
yeah.
operate the patch when you take
That
over.
would-
Okay.
yes.
If I may kind of supplement that answer, we actually had some discussion about how to word this in their scope of work, and it was simplified. Their scope of work for their monthly fee, they are responsible for providing the labor needed to operate the patch.
Okay.
Simple, whether it's volunteer or paid labor, however they get them there, it's their responsibility to see that it's staffed.
Okay. Any further discussion? Nope.
If there's no more questions, may I make some clarifications to this issue? First of all, we worked with the purchasing department and conducted a formal process, and I'm not quite sure of the correct vocabulary, but basically, Fruitful Fields has been certified as a sole source provider for this service. So they are good to hire without a competitive bid. There was no other responses to the process that purchasing ran for this. This is how they ended up with that designation. The second piece, in terms of the cost proposal that that Fruitful Fields has provided, it is $77,865. That amount of money is specifically offset by the termination of 2 part-time positions that had previously been in the patch. Also, it's partially offset because in the past, we have paid Jamie a consulting fee, and with her being the executive director of Fruitful Fields, we don't need to pay her a second consulting agreement. So my point is, in terms of this operating agreement that's proposed by Fruitful Fields, it's basically a complete offset with expenses that are not going to be ongoing in the patch. This was discussed with Frank. It was structured into the 2024 CRA budget.
Thank you, Director Chen. Okay, any possible action moving forward to Fruitful Fields? Board Member James?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve Fruitful Fields.
All right, I have a motion for Fruitful Fields. I have a second from Board Member Davis. This is for a 2-year contract with Fruitful Fields, we just discussed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. Thank you, Fruitful
Thank
Fields.
you
Looking
very much.
forward to working
Thank
with you guys.
Okay, thank you so much.
Looking forward to a bright future. Thank you. Okay. On to item 7.3. This is patch location options. Go ahead, Director Chen.
I have provided a memorandum for this, just to let you know. Basically, this is the same information that I presented to you in the slideshow in our last meeting. It is a summary of how the 2 locations are put together in terms of the number of parcels and that type of stuff. I will remind you that the current patch location is made up of 3 parcels, one of which has no identity with the assessor's office. It would be a good idea for us to clarify that. It is designated right-of-way, but clearly it's not completely right-of-way, and it's also not completely usable in terms of gardening. The optional site at Sterling Road is comprised of 2 parcels. And interesting enough, the larger of the 2 parcels is actually split by the canal, so part of it is on the east side of the canal and part of it is on the west side of the canal. But altogether, basically the land that's available at Sterling Road is about 2.6 acres. The land available at the Dania Beach Boulevard site is probably about 1 acre in terms of usable land. I've summarized pros and cons for each site. I won't go through that. Again, we had a fairly extensive discussion, and if you want to, I'd be happy to review it, but I don't want to kind of waste your time with just repeating things that we've talked about before unless you want to hear it. The clear breakthrough, if you will, as to the flooding problem that has been at Dania Beach Boulevard is the concept of doing the primary growing in raised beds, which is basically a concrete block structure that elevates the growing field above the floor of the site. It's not an absolute permanent solution. If it rains hard enough, anything floods. But for typical flooding and rain and that type of stuff, raised beds have been very successful in isolating and mitigating the impacts of flooding. Also, hydroponics has been very successful. Hydroponics basically is growing in water that is with nutrients. And so it is not a subject to flooding because at the patch we use vertical hydroponic growing methods. The hydroponics, together with our nursery, are actually the feedstock for the raised beds. So you start seeds, you start your plants, you get your seedlings growing and so forth. Once they get to be of the size where they actually are viable, they get transferred for planting into the raised beds where they grow to maturity. The Dania Beach Boulevard site, if we remain there, the concept would be to try to, as closely as possible, implement the master plan that was included in the CRA plan update, follow their recommendations, such as, like I said, the first is clearing up that one parcel that is designated as right-of-way, but also, for instance, to move the community plots from the east side to the west side, and frankly, to complete the recovery of the growing areas and the raised beds that were experienced damage and so forth from the floods in April. Currently, about 60 to 65% of the entire garden has been recovered, primarily through the sole efforts of Bianca Maria in the Pink Hat, with the assistance of Jamie and Noah in their part-time capacities. But if we continue there, we need to clean up the rest of it. We need to re-engage the existing raised beds. We need to correct and repair the irrigation system and that type of stuff to get it up and going properly. And then we talked about, as the future goes, we would add additional raised beds to offset anything that's pots on the ground or growing bags. That would reflect the addition of 28 additional raised beds. I will tell you, I've tried to estimate some costs for you, but I need to caution you, this is not a one-time upfront expense. This is an expense that I would expect to occur over the next 3 years. So for instance, the first year, for the remainder of this year, we clean up the existing farm, what we have in the existing raised beds. We make sure that the irrigation system is functional in our existing raised beds. And then next year, we might build half of the additional raised beds. And then in 2026, you go to the second half. So we have estimated cost. It is not a one-time all-in cost today. I have also added a new feature to my cost estimate that I think is worthy of consideration once you decide where you want to be. And this would be applicable to both sites. Currently, and for the last several years, in our annual budget for the patch, we budget $8,000 a year for water. All right, because the patch currently is operated off of city water. It would be my recommendation that we explore the cost of drilling a well. According to estimates I can tell, South Florida is a particular low-cost area to do wells because of the high water tables. Basically, the estimate is about $3,500. It depends specifically on the site and the well, but for a $3,500 capital investment, we would significantly offset the operating expense by $8,000 a year. In terms of the Sterling Road location, basically I took the cost of our estimates of doing raised beds and so forth for the current location. I've tried to estimate, basically the site is twice as big, so I assume that we have twice the number of raised beds. So I've done the multiplier fact. We know what the cost of a raised bed is. It's just the estimate of how many of them would go at the Sterling Road location. There would be a cost of setting up a nursery area. There is a cost of basically clearing the entire site because it's 2.5 acres that are totally overgrown, haven't been trimmed back for at least several years. You probably want to do a fencing arrangement around the 2.5 acres. That would be an additional expense. I was able to confirm, and I will tell you with the assistance of Public Services, there is water and electricity at the site. So it's not a big expense to actually run and do the tap. The expense would be doing the on-site distribution of water and setting up electrical panels. But setting up electrical panels and so forth, that's $5,000 to $6,000. It's not a $10,000 or $15,000 deal. All right. As same with water, it's not doing the taps. It's simply distributing the water across the site as needed. So that is not the onerous expense for those utilities that were potentially out there. So I was able to get that clarified. And with that, I have run estimates of costs at the Sterling Road location, but again, this is considered to be a multi-year capital budget. There are some bigger upfront expenses, such as the fence you would need to do, the clear cutting of the site. You would need to set up the electrical panels. You would need to move the sheds and anchor them and so forth. These are all upfront costs that would not be experienced at the Dania Beach Boulevard site. With that, my summary last time was basically both sites have advantages and disadvantages, but I think we have ways to mitigate the disadvantages of both sites. The location is basically your personal preference.
Director Chen, you know, when you spoke about raised beds and additional costs, I believe that some of the raised beds were donated by Home Depot.
Actually, every raised bed that we have there today, there are I think 18 raised beds. Every single one of those beds have been paid through some kind of donation. It's not been a part of our budgeted cost.
Yeah, so I'm saying we could still encourage donations as well.
And I expect that future raised beds, we would probably be good candidates for additional grants as well.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that we could still,
Yes.
we don't have to foot the bill for everything. It's still a
Absolutely.
community garden where we could get donations from the community. Okay.
Yes.
Board Member Salvino?
Thank you, Chair. Um, You know, you talked about, and listen, I'm all for the patch. It just depends on our discussion here, which way you want to go. But I just have some questions. Um, You know, we're talking about 1201 West Dania Beach Boulevard is 1 acre. And then you're talking about 1399 has 3 acres?
2.5
2.6,
acres.
almost, all right, so 2.5 or better acres. So we have almost time and a half times the amount of space to grow more vegetables. Um, Number two, the raised beds, what's the purpose of the raised beds? Because the ground was not adaptable for planting, so if you go to 1399, why would you need raised beds? If the soil is better over there, and it's not infiltrated with oils and stuff that where there's a dump, unless that was a dump and I don't know that.
No, in fact, I think it wasn't a dump. We haven't detected any history to it that would have negative
Okay,
connotations.
but so if it didn't have hazardous in the soil, you wouldn't have to spend $41,950 on a raised bed there. Is that correct? To be like the old days of planting in the ground?
Because the raised beds are actually better growing environments for the vegetable crops that we have, as well as a lot of our operation and part of our community engagement is the volunteer groups that come in. And I can tell you the volunteer groups are very much favoring the raised beds because it reduces the work of actually working directly on the soil
I guess
versus
they never
working in a
farmed when they
raised
were young,
environment.
huh?
Pardon?
They never farmed when they were young like the rest of us, huh?
I think that might be it, but in fact, interesting enough, when you look at the sites, the websites for the technologies behind raised beds, all of them identify that it reduces body strain for growing crops.
You know, I'll never be satisfied with the answers. I have to be honest with you because I mean, because somebody can't bend over because they have to have a raised bed because they're volunteering their time. I would not be, you know, a good person to comment on this. I believe in the patch. I believe in working. I believe in growing the vegetables. I believe in, you know, community involvement. I just don't like to pacify certain things. And so I'll just stand down and whatever this board decides, I'm in favor of. Okay?
Thank you, Board Member. Any other discussion? Vice Chair?
The fruit trees, that's only on the 1399 property?
Yes, and
And-
that is directly associated with the quality of the soil and the less probability of flooding. So you could do fruit tree orchards there. And by the way, I know there was some discussion that there's nothing to prevent doing a fruit orchard at 1399, even if you want to remain the patch where it's at.
Okay. And as far as a well,
Yes.
have you even looked into whether or not that could be done at either location? Because there might be, water is different than soil.
Yes, well, and so when you dig a well, first of all, and again, I'm not an expert in well, but I have done a fair amount of reading to bring this subject up. Basically, even in an area that has high water tables, you don't just drill down to reach the water table because that
Right.
would be 6-8 feet.
Correct.
And that's where you pick up contaminated soil, water that's contaminated in soil and saltwater intrusions, that kind of stuff. So you want to take the well at least deep enough to go down through the porous material of Florida to where the filtration helps offset any influences of saltwater intrusion. Pardon?
And iron.
No,
And
well,
other-
iron's fine. That's natural in the well water. Yeah.
Right, but also, we talked about this being a dump site previously, and there being
Yes.
potential issues. Because you're talking about, we had issues before about soil contamination. Now, if you're talking about water, that would also be a potential problem, I would think.
Well, again, even in Florida, to get to good groundwater, they typically take wells to 75 to 100 feet. And that is typically to get it below ground surface contamination issues, saltwater intrusion issues, and that type of stuff. And again, I don't know how far they'd have to go specifically at each site, but even in Florida, they talk about wells being 75 to 100 feet deep, which is well below the water table.
Okay, thank you.
I can speak out of experience. I just got a well 2 years ago, 25 feet, and we got water. And just, yeah. No. Like you said, it has a lot of iron in it, but it's good enough for lawn and watering your lawn and your plants.
If I may add to this, I mean, I've talked about this in terms of the economics of saving water, saving cost of water, but we're also talking about offsetting the use of thousands of gallons of potable water that doesn't have to be done.
Yeah, exactly. You're just paying for the electricity. Board Member Davis, and then I'll go back to you, Vice Chair.
Yes, thank you, Chair. You mentioned that there were going to be several upfront costs to the Sterling Road location. And so, and I know we talked about numbers and data the last time. Can you let us know, there would be a cost associated with finding out some of those upfront costs in order to survey, in order to get that information. There would be a significant amount of cost in order to find that out.
The biggest cost that I was concerned about for the exploratory was getting engineering reports as to the availability of electricity and water. Public Service has clarified that there is electricity and water at the site. It just needs to be distributed. So from there, it's just engineering what size electricity panel do you need, doing the site plan in a surveyed condition to where you know exactly where you're going to run your water lines for their use and that type of stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
And lastly, the patch is a known location for the community. It is in a community walkable, friendly environment. The programs that we're speaking of with the schools, with the Saratoga, that's all within walkable distance from this location. The cost would be significantly less. And so for those reasons and the reasons of having the raised beds and the hydroponics and confirmation from the subject matter experts that this is a viable current location, known location, and loved location by the community, I would be in favor of keeping the patch where it is currently and looking at opportunities to do something else with the other property. Thank you. That's a motion.
Thank you. That was a motion? Thank you, Board. We can make a motion out there. We'll just have a little further discussion. Vice Chair?
So this is actually a question for Eve. The location on Sterling Road, that's the one with the tower on it, correct?
I'm sorry.
Correct, yes.
It was a question for the city
Yes.
attorney. Yes, so and that being the case, it's very limited what we can do with that property, correct?
It's a certain area of it. It's not all of the whole area. There has to be an access road
Mm-hmm.
and then the actual area for the antenna, and it's specifically defined in the contract.
Right.
So it's
There are
probably
limitations.
maybe a fourth of the property or a fifth of the property.
Actually, it's far more modest than that. The Sill Tower area is about 3,600 square feet. It is at the southeast corner of the bigger property. Basically, we took this into account as we did the proposed layout for the patch at that location. So the access road that's required for us to maintain to the cell tower could also serve as an ingress-egress access road for the patch. It doesn't have to be a dedicated right-of-way.
Right.
Yes.
And just because it's double the size of the current location doesn't mean you have to do double the number of elevated or raised beds, right? I mean, you can do something else.
Well, in fact, it's big enough that you could double the raised beds and still do a fruit orchard. That's how
Right.
much bigger the site is.
Right. But if you didn't want to double if you wanted to do like 1.5 times the number and then maybe do additional trees or additional
Certainly,
like passive area for people to utilize, that sort of thing.
you could, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Board Member James?
Second.
All right. So I have a motion to keep patch where it is, correct? Yes. Okay, and enhance with fruitful fields, and I have a second from Board Member James. I guess we'll call it to a vote. Go ahead, Alora.
Board Member Davis?
Yes.
Board Member James?
Yes.
Board Member Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Chair Llewellyn?
No.
Excuse me. Chair Ryan?
Yes.
Chair, the motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, look forward to really kicking it off with Fruitful Fields and getting it going over there at the patch at our current location. And it's actually, I guess maybe the silver lining is we reviewed what we could do over at the Sterling Road location and the potential that we have there. We have a lot of fruit trees there currently, correct? What kind of fruit trees, like mango and avocado?
Come up to the microphone, please.
Yeah, please. Okay, it's not that important. It's not that important. Yeah, banana, mango, coconut, avocado. Okay, perfect. And papaya. Oh, wow. All right, so yeah, it shows you that we still have a lot of potential over there. If that could be like a fruit orchard in the future. But let's just focus on the patch right now, where it is, and then, who knows where the future leads us. Okay, great. Happy we got through that, board.
Yes,
All right,
and
now
thank you.
now we can go to item 7.4. This is CRA Executive Director's contract, and this is sponsored by Board Member Tamara James.
Thank you, Chair. In doing my evaluations and really looking back into the past 3 years, I guess 2020, the end of 2020, when Mr. Chen has been here, and I did have a separate conversation with him regarding this, and so I wanted to give him that opportunity and that respect for him not to be ambushed. But I do have a bunch of notes, but I wanted to see what the board thought about possibly revisiting his contract. I know that there are a lot of deliverables that have not been met, and there just hasn't been much done, in my opinion, with the expectations that I have for an executive CRA director. We've been understaffed for a very long time. I know that Kathleen's been gone since, June, and Keisha and Kay's been gone prior to that. Just got lovely Denise here yesterday. Welcome to the team. However, I think that we need different leadership to move things along with our economic development. I did speak with RMA, who we had prior to our previous executive director. I know we had Rachel from RMA before that, and they are a consultant, and that they could also provide, and they could have provided temporary staff to help run the operations of the CRA and the patch, as well as we could have even went to a temp agency. But I know that we have a lot of things like, our commercial grants. I know that we have our annual report that has to be done in the end of March. RMA is able to help with the transition if we wanted to seek out a new executive director. With that cost, I did have a lengthy conversation with them. They're able to draw up a scope of work before the next time we meet in order to carry out the duties that is needed. I know that we have monies in the budget because we currently aren't staffed to the capacities of those salaries. And so I wanted to have a conversation with the board to see if there is support to transition our current executive director out and recruit. I know that our past CRA executive director worked with HR to come up with a beautifully written recruitment document in order to secure an executive director. And I'm bringing this forward now because this was the time that we have gotten our evaluations. And I think moving forward, maybe we need to align the evaluations with how we award the contracts, because it's kind of, you award a contract, but the evaluation doesn't come to, several months after that. And I just wanted to see where we were with the board. I know I am not happy with how our CRA has been operating and where we are and the expectations that we have. We look at all of the other agencies or people that come and directly report to us, and I know I am very, I don't want to say demanding, but I have high expectations because we are doing great things in the city, and I think that our CRA needs to match what we're doing as a city. And I think we've missed a lot of opportunities, and I think this would be the perfect time if we want to get another executive director in the seat to have them have their own budget for budget discussions come about in order to give them the success that they would need.
Thank you, Board Member James. Any further discussion from the board? Vice Chair?
Yes, so I'm gonna say that no, things have not been perfect. I do think there have been a lot of challenges over the last 3 years as well. And I also know that when we did initially recruit, there were a number of people that applied that many of whom were not really qualified. Some of them were, but it was very clear that this was a unanimous vote by the board at the time to hire our current executive director because he was the most qualified. So I do think that as opposed to terminating a contract, I think it would behoove us to try to find other solutions to try to resolve whatever the issues are. And I have suggested many times over the last 5 years that we need to do some other things and maybe have people with different experiences be involved, and maybe, especially because we're a TIFLess CRA, and the funding is a very big factor. And I had suggested previously that we move the CRA under the city manager, because we do have people there who are experienced with CRAs and are doing a lot of really good things for the city right now. And it might just be a matter of trying to align the two, separate agency, but align the two and try to be more consistent with how we're doing things and how leadership is being addressed. So I would not be in favor of terminating the contract at this time without giving this an opportunity to try to thrive in a different scenario. That's all.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Board Member Joyce Davis?
When is the contract up?
We just renewed it.
It's just renewed, it's November 2025.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it has been a long journey, and I am one for looking for tangibles and things and deliverables. And for a while, it just seems that we weren't getting those deliverables as we wanted it, as we expected it. But as we sit here today, I am very hopeful for what I've seen just in this meeting today. I have seen a new experienced assistant to the director with 17, 18 years of experience come on board. We have a brand new contract with Fruitful Fields. These are things that we're going to be able to definitely see, you know, the deliverables. We're going to see whether or not the patch is going to work or not. We're going to see if bringing somebody else with expertise on board makes a difference in, you know, how smoothly and how well our expectations are met. And so I'm not in favor of, you know, terminating a contract at this point when we just made several decisions to move forward. And Director Chin was responsible for working with these different companies and going out and finding new people to come on board to help reinvigorate the CRA. So I definitely believe there should be a separation between the CRA and the city. But I do believe that Director Chin deserves at least this contract to see what we can do with this new team and with these new people who are on board. So I would be in favor of letting him keep his contract as it is through the remainder of this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Davis. Board Member Salvino, anything to add? No? Board Member James?
Yes, I just want to add that regardless of the leadership and nothing that has been said here today would stop. I know that we have the incubator, we have the Miami Dolphins Foundation on there. I'm hearing that they're no longer there, but their logo's on the door. We've spent $40,000 to $45,000 to date on that location. And I do know that RMA has the ability to work both with Denise and Fruitful Fields and SCORE and rebuilding together. And so none of those operations would stop. I am too. I wouldn't want to just stop something without a plan. But I know that, you know, even with the annual report, we have an accountant, Sean, that she could assist RMA with doing those things. We've had RMA before on a larger scale than just a consultant. I think it was with Board Member Salvino was the mayor when we had RMA there, and they can pretty much cater or create a scope of work to what our needs are. But definitely, I just wanted to clarify that anything that has happened with Fruitful Fields or Denise or any of the ongoing operations, they wouldn't die because of that. They will actually come in and look at the plan, the CRA plan update, and look at the things that we're supposed to be doing, the things that we're not doing to remain compliant as a CRA. And so I just wanted to clarify those things wouldn't die in the sand.
Chair,
Please
may
go
I
ahead.
make a statement that would correct some information here? You are correct in terms of the Dan Marino Foundation not being the bulk of the occupancy of that office. However, they are maintaining an office in the CRA office and incubator with us. The reason that they are not fully populating our building is because they have leased the entire building exactly next door. It's over 7,000 square feet because they're moving their entire headquarters operation to Dania Beach, and it's going to be next door to our incubator.
Mayor, just one acknowledgement. According to his contract, this would not be a termination for cause, it would be a termination for convenience. And were you to do so, you'd be required to pay severance of 12 weeks and any accrued sick and vacation leave.
Thank you, Eve. Board Member Salvino?
Thank you, Chair. I guess we have three different views up here, and we got one view that wants to terminate the contract, we have one view that wants it to remain the same, and we have one view that wants to put it under the city administration. So why don't we start up and let's figure out where we're at, unless anybody else got anything to say. Well, somebody make a motion, and we'll start with the motions.
Okay, yeah, I guess we're just discussing this as an evaluation and, you know, reviewing the contract. We did just sign, you know, a new 2-year contract with Director Chen in September 25th. You know, a lot of these issues we could have addressed then as well, but, you know, the CRA was still going through a lot. Mr. Chen himself was sick. We lost a member of the CRA. We had somebody retire out of the CRA. You know, the 8 ball's kind of been behind the CRA. Well, the CRA's been behind the 8 ball this last year. And there's not any specific person to blame for it, but, you know, Director Chen is the captain of the ship, you know, with the CRA. So I know he accepts responsibility for its failures as well as, you know, taking congratulations for our successes. So, you know, that I do appreciate you, I guess, pivoting more and working more with the board on trying to meet what we are trying to envision for the CRA in the city. You know, a couple things that I think we definitely could do better is that satellite office over there at the CRA. You know, it's been empty ever since we started our lease, and you know, right now it's burned a hole in our pocket. And from my understanding, I think we have an agreement. It's like a membership, and when we're married to it for 12 months.
An additional 8 months.
An additional eight more months. Okay, so we can't get out of it. And if we got out of it, we'd have to pay for it anyway. So we have to figure out how to make it work. And we have to have it occupied. We have to have somebody in that office. I don't think right now we need that additional position for business recruitment and development. I don't think we need to. I just don't think that needs to be our CRA's focus right now, considering the laundry list that we have on our plate right now. So those would just be two opinions that I would like to see changed and improved when it comes to that satellite office and with this new position. So I just wanted to voice those concerns. And yeah, we have 3 opinions. Obviously right now is Board Member Salvino mentioned, so yeah, without delaying any time, I guess we can entertain a motion to move forward. Okay.
Item. Yes, it's my.
Board Member
I
James?
do not mind making a motion. Make a motion, to, terminate Director Chen's contract.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay. Seeing no second, motion fails. Vice Chair Llewellyn?
I'll make a motion to move the CRA under the city manager.
Okay, we have a motion to move the CRA under the city management. And I have a second from Board Member Salvino. Please call this to a vote, Alora. This is to move the CRA under the direction of the city.
Board Member Davis?
1 second. Board Member Davis?
No.
Board Member James?
Wait 1 second.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Board Member Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Chair Llewellyn?
Yes.
Mayor Ryan, or Chair Ryan, I'm sorry.
No.
Chair, the motion fails.
Okay, Board Member Davis.
I make a motion to keep Director Chen's contract as is throughout the remainder of his current contract.
Actually, that is the status quo,
Yeah.
so you don't need a motion.
You don't have to make a motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
as is.
Okay. All right, let me see where we stand. Board member comments. We'll start with Board Member Davis. Any comments?
Yes, welcome Denise to our team. We look forward to working with you. Love your colors. And I look forward to working with all of you with the Fruitful Fields, Noah, Jamie, and everyone. Congratulations. And I think we're going to be able to do great work together with the patch. Thank you so much.
Board Member James?
Yes, welcome Denise and Jamie. You know, it's always a pleasure working with you. I look forward to getting the patch back thriving. I do think that as a board, we need to come up with some deliverables to hold the CRA accountable for what we are doing and not doing. I think there is an opportunity to do that. I don't know how we're going to do it collectively. I'm not going to say a workshop. I know we all are tired of kind of having workshops, but we need to have some formal document or something that we can check a list off to make sure that our, you know, we aren't just up here talking, that we align our words with action.
Board Member Salvino?
Thank you, Chair. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to everybody else out there. I think we had a good meeting tonight. I think we got a lot said and done. And, you know, whether we all like it or not, I think it's something that's out there and aware and making, you know, us be more prepared for, you know, the next few months coming up. I welcome Mr. Chin's challenge, and I think the patch will, either place will work out with Fruitful Farms. So I think, you know, I think we're in a good direction today. So I just want to say I think we did pretty good together today.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Member Salvino. Vice Chair?
Welcome, Denise. Nice to meet you.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair. Okay, look forward to working with you, Denise. Happy to, I'll introduce myself to you later, probably right after this meeting. And look, it's great that we are making some progress, at least what I consider some progress. And I look forward to our next meeting and getting an update and following through on more of our initiatives as a board. So thank you, everybody, for tonight. See you at the meeting at 7. Meeting adjourned.